right, now listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That was the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it. Hit it.
It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started. Yeah.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
6 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 17th day of May in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. You got to know when the show starts with Eddie Murphy playing Donkey, going it's showtime. That makes you smile. I hope that makes you smile. If it doesn't make you smile, that's okay. Facebook me and tell me what I could say that would make you smile, and I'll say it as long as it's not derogatory, and then you'll know that I care about you and that I do want you to have a good day. And I want you to smile.
As long as it makes you smile, buddy.
Me?
Yes.
No, it doesn't need to make me smile. Some things don't make me smile.
Well, obviously...
For instance, pizza buffets don't make me smile, but say that in front of Chris. Pizza buffets.
Well, obvious...
Yeah. You're awake now?
Yeah. What?
Yeah,
What?
you're awake. Okay.
Obviously, our other promo did not make you smile, so I'm glad you smile now.
Our other promo.
The one with call me.
Oh, no,
did
that
not
didn't
make you smile.
That did not make me smile.
So
that did not make, and that's an opening, not a promo. Just so you know.
Okay,
trying to give you the special
all right.
deal.
Well, get me up to speed.
All right, so we have an exciting show today, as in always. Today is going to be a little more interactive with you. We're going to talk in the first hour about 3 big news stories that are out there. One, what do we need to do with drunk drivers? What do we need to do to deter drinking and driving?
Hang him up by something.
I don't know. I just, obviously I come from a place because I've been arrested for that. It was many, many years ago. It was 15 years ago. But yet it rings in my mind. I can remember the moment that it happened. I can remember the consequence of it. I can remember the newspaper article with Rob Borsellino, and I can remember the television coverage with Kevin Cooney and everything. So maybe the rules are in place to deter that from ever happening again. But how do we stop it in the first place without infringing upon the rights of Americans to consume alcoholic beverages?
Prohibition.
Well, we tried that once.
Let's try it again. Let's try it again.
Try it again.
Yep. This time, let the church get behind it.
Maybe the church doesn't feel that way about it.
I know, because a lot of the teetotalers are in the church.
Well, a lot of the okay. Well, Frank, you go ahead and head that up. Get a hold of Greg Baker, and he'll get a hold of every pastor in every church in Iowa, and we'll have but that's not going to work. I mean, it's not going to work until something works.
Well, excuse the pun, but you've heard of the magazine. Do we need a society? And I say no.
Well, when you have a mental illness like yours, Frank, you're always having a good time every day. Some of us
I don't need
help.
drugs. Take my character and amplify that about 10 times on drugs, and you'd think you'd have. No. Let's have a sober society.
All right, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the FBI has really caused a little problem in Iowa City. There was a black student who was assaulted by several white students. There were racial slurs that may have fueled the violence, but the FBI decided not to charge it as a hate crime. And I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but I don't think that's right. I think when a bunch of white dudes attack a black guy and they use racial slurs, it's obviously a racially motivated attack. Therefore, it's hate. I don't agree with hate crimes, first of all, but if the law's in place, I don't know why this isn't one. And I don't get that. But anyway, we'll talk about that. And then, oh boy, did the city of Des Moines screw up. Oh man. And they got some trouble in River City, let me tell you. All right, so that's coming up in a minute. Chris is here, Frank's here, Bob's here. And then next hour, Pastor Ryan Jorgensen and Pastor Spencer going to come in. We're going to talk about a little bit about the definitions of hell. And then I don't know what we're going to get into. We're gonna maybe open that up to you, the listener, and say what's on your mind right now that you want to ask a couple pastors questions. Ooh, maybe we just open it up and do like a Ask the Hank.
Well, I was going to say, you've got two pastors from two different churches. It'd be quite fun to open up the phone lines and get each one of them to address the questions.
Yeah.
Not that they're not particularly radically different. Both of them see Scripture as their final authority, so I think they're probably going to agree on most things. But it would be interesting to just get their different perspectives and see what their passions are.
So you've got what? You've got Assemblies on one side and then Harvest on the other?
Open Bible.
Open Bible. That's different than Assemblies.
Open Bible is different than Assemblies, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know to what degree.
Because Open Bible used to be a big deal here in Des Moines. They had their headquarters here and they had a seminary here.
Still are.
Are
Open
they?
Bible headquarters are still here, yeah.
Is there more than one Open Bible church here in Des Moines?
Yes,
there
several.
are.
There are several, I think, in the metro area, and they just started publishing a magazine. Actually, I've invested one of the editors of that magazine to come be on the show.
I have a good idea.
Okay.
Uh-oh. He already proclaimed it was a good idea. This could be a monster idea coming from Silent Bob.
You know, talking about the differences between the two.
Yeah.
Why don't we ask them when they get here?
Whoa.
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 Thank you, Jeff. All right. Well, we may do that. We have a lot of fun here. All right. 515-244-0077. That's you can call if you want to get in on the radio. Jebediah will answer the phone. And don't engage him in a long conversation because he's an impressionable boy. And, you know, if you say, well, Jebediah, how are you today? I hear about you on the radio. He's going to go off on this big ego. Oh, yeah, I'm on the radio. I'm a Grandview College adult, and I'm down in high school, and I wear caramel powder pants, and I'm a producer for Max World. We don't care. Just get him on the air. You know how many times the phone rings? I have a phone. I have a phone bank right here in front of me. He has one, and I have one. And I'll see the line ring, and I'll think, oh, good, we got a caller. Let's get him on the air. And I look over in the producer's window because you're what? You're 10 feet away from me, probably 15.
Yeah, something like that.
He's there just shooting the breeze, especially when Lisa calls.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's something sweet going on for Lisa.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Because when Lisa yesterday, it was like 4 minutes until he got on the phone, and you could see, and Jebediah was blushing, you know. Of course, Lisa's more netter, but I like her. Okay, are you ready? If I said this, what would it remind you of? Chris, you get first chance. Okay, you ready? 4!
It would make me think about golf.
No. So anyway, the Ames Christian School is having a golf outing. Yes, of course, it's golf. And it only takes one good golfer for your team of 4 to have a good day at the Ames Christian School golf outing. It is coming up. You can hear more about it at ameschristianschool.org. Call the school today. There's no phone number on this or no date. I don't know who wrote this copy. But call the school today and register your team of 4 for a day of golfing at the beautiful Cold Water Link in Ames. Get more information at ameschristianschool.org, and we will be giving away a foursome, which includes lunch.
Yes.
All right, we're going to do that tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to give that away tomorrow, and the golf outing is actually Friday.
I see now that it's, thank you very much, Jebediah. Golf outing Friday, May 27th, 2016. That is the Friday of Memorial Weekend, so what a great way to kick off for Memorial Weekend. You'll get a day of golf and lunch for 4 at ameschristianschool.org.
Yeah, I want to shout out to the texter we got a couple days ago when we were talking about heaven, and we had a texter text in and say, I hope there's not golf in heaven. I don't know. I haven't been there yet, but you can golf while you're here, so hopefully that person would call in tomorrow and win the foursome of tickets.
You know, ever since Robin Williams died, and Robin Williams was one of my favorite guys. I really loved him from way back, even before Mork and Mindy.
Yeah.
You know, he was doing stuff with Jonathan
Winters.
And there was a time when he was on, was it the Jack Parr show or Johnny Carson or something?
Probably Johnny Carson.
And Robin Williams said, yeah, here's how golf started. And so he's got this deep Irish brogue, and he said, they've been drinking beer, and they're a little drunk, and he goes, hey, I got an idea. Let's go outside and hit the little ball in the hole. And he said, YouTube it. And that guy was such a brilliant guy. I miss him. Talk about abuse, alcohol and drugs, and of course we don't know that took his life. We think that depression took his life, and that he was, and many times the most talented outward people, singers, comedians, entertainers, actors, they are the ones that suffer from depression the most, and they're able to go in front of the camera or go in front of the microphone, and you'd think that they'd hit a switch that goes up and they'd turn on that Robin Williams. Most of the time, people that suffer from depression turn the switch off. And they filter out all those voices, that feces committee that runs through our head that tells us we're not good enough, we're not. And they shut those off, and so they can just create incredibly for a few minutes or hours.
If you remember right, Jonathan Winters in the day had a similar situation, and he actually had, I believe, a nervous breakdown, as they called him back in my day. And suffered from similar depression. That's why they had a similar style of comedy.
Yeah.
Kind of an ad lib, just make stuff up out of nothing.
I'm assuming Jonathan, he's dead, right? I would think so.
If he did, I think it was within the last year.
Bob, check that out on the Google, would you? I don't know that. All right. When we come back, it took a city of Des Moines just one weekend to erase what it took students a year to create. And it all happened without notice. This is not a teaser of a funny story. This is a sad story about bureaucracy and the arts.
Winters died in 2000.
I will come back and I will tell you all about this and more when we come back here live in Mac's World. And if I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Truth.
Predators. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi. My name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of energy to everybody. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
21 minutes after 3:21 on the 17th day of May in the Lord's year 2016. You know why I say that at the beginning of every show? Because I want you to know we're live. You'd be surprised at how many radio programs on this station and others are not live. So you do the show happening right now in our studios in Des Moines, high atop a tall building overlooking the city, Saylorville Lake, the river system. Got a wonderful studio. One of the highest topographical places in Iowa. Third highest place. Second highest, first and second are over there in Dubuque. And the third is where our studios are here in Des Moines. So we're glad to be here. If we're new to your listening ears, this is The Truth, 99.3. That's the name of the station. It's The Truth. We figured if we're going to put our name on it, we by gosh better be what we say we are. And that's what you'll hear here. No politically correct conversations. No clients who have bought their way into our pockets. This is a radio station that we can say, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, Jesus, as often as we choose. Come on, guys, everybody, let's all do it together. 1, 2, 3, Jesus. You can't do that on any other right now. If let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3. Jesus. If this was on any other radio station in Des Moines, the general manager would be flying down the hallway, banging down the door, and saying, "What are you trying to do? Get all my clients to stop. They don't want to hear Jesus on the radio. You can't say Jesus on your station." Been there, done that.
You do that pretty good.
Did it a couple times. No, I wasn't the guy running down the hall. It was somebody else. So anyway, I don't know how much Jesus we'll talk about. I don't know how much preaching the gospel. We preach the gospel a lot around here. I don't know how much preaching the gospel we'll have. If you've never heard the gospel, let me share it with you. There's this dude. His name is Jesus. He's God's son. God sent him here because we had done such a lousy job for thousands of years of honoring this God, this creator, this father, this potter. And God finally said, I can't, they're never going to come around. I have to go to them rather than wait for them to come to me. So he came to us in human form, in a perfect body, in a perfect soul, in a perfect mind, in a perfect patience, except for that one little thing at the temple. And he died for us. So you never, ever, ever, ever have to pay for those sins that you've had. Now, you do have to do one thing. You get to have a personal relationship with your Creator in human form, and we call him Jesus. And you get to have the Holy Spirit come deep into your soul and just change everything about you. No, I'm still baffled. I just know that one day he came into life, and little by it wasn't a microwave moment. It didn't happen in 5 minutes, and all of a sudden I'm a different dude. But rather than adding resentments and adding character defects, he began to chip them away. And it changed everything. And if you want that in your life, let me buy you a cup of coffee, a Coca-Cola, a beer. I don't care. So let's sit down and let's talk about how your life is going. Because I'll guarantee you, with Jesus, it will be better. And you'll have eternal salvation, and you'll spend the rest of the world till the end of time with your Creator, rather than being cast out to whatever hell may be for you for the rest of it. Thanks for listening.
And you know that God didn't send Christ to earth to bring Christ down to our level. He sent Christ to bring us up to his standards and level.
Yep. He gave up. What did I hear one of the preachers on the talking today? It was my favorite. It was the moody guy. What's his name?
Dr. Erwin Lutzer.
Yeah, because Lutzer does two things I love. It's always God, G-A-W-D, God, and then it's Jesus. But he doesn't do anything else with his syllables. But he was talking about what a tolerant, patient God we have. And sometimes we think we're patient. He watched those crazy Israelites not repent for 300 years. 300 years. I feel bad when it's been 3 days. 300 years he waited for those Israelites to repent, and they never did. So what did he do? He forgave them anyway. Crazy stuff this God does. Okay, so it took the city of Des Moines You're an art fan. You're kind of a
Sure.
art geek.
I love it.
Yeah. Are either one of you artsy?
No.
No. How about you, Jeb? No. So just you and I are the creative ones.
Yes.
It took the city of Des Moines just one weekend to erase a 200-foot mural that it took students a year to create. And it all happened without notice. Big, stupid accident. Quote, very much that feeling of emptiness, feeling of frustration, feeling like you really did all the things that you thought that you were supposed to do and then see the work that took numerous hours cost on. Unquote, said Christopher Rollins, who teaches urban art at Des Moines schools. He said the entire situation is heartbreaking. Quote, especially for young people that are looking for ways to express, to know that they put in the time and felt empowered by knowing that something they created was seen by everybody. People are driving by and looking at it and being in awe of it, and it's just gone, just like that. It's especially tough for 16-year-old Trey Jarrett, a sophomore at Central Campus. He spent an entire day working on the mural right after his close friend Kendall Foster was shot and killed. Apparently, there was some miscommunications between maintenance in the city of Des Moines and this piece of art. They had permission to do this. It's art department. This art teacher that I told you about, Christopher Rollins, went and got permission from the city of Des Moines, from Public Works, from the Central Campus to come in and do this mural. And so they did this. And the city, which is, I don't know if you've ever run around our city very much, but we don't have a lot of graffiti. And that's because, it's not because we don't get it, it's because the city goes over and paints over it. They figure sooner or later, they know there's a battle up front. You paint it, they'll paint it over. Oh, you're going to paint it over. Okay, we'll paint it again. All right, we'll paint over it. Oh, I see how you are. Well, we're going to do it again. Sooner or later, things change. And so Des Moines is pretty graffiti-free for the most part. But teachers at Central Campus say that they can hope to come to an agreement on a project in the same location where the city doesn't just go in and take them off. That's too bad. And I'm not a fan of graffiti. I don't understand it. I see trains go by all the time, and they have this stuff painted on there, and it's
absolutely gorgeous.
It's not a language I can understand.
I think if you've ever stopped and considered graffiti and the talent that it takes to do what they do with spray paint cans, if you ever used a spray paint can just to, spray paint something, it's pretty messy.
I took a bunch of white Charlets when I was like 16 years old. Put black dots on them.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
You know what a white Charlet is?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
No.
You're from Texas and you don't want to know what a cow is.
I know what a cow is.
Well, it's a white Charlet is like a race or a brand or a denomination.
It's a kind of cow, a breed of cow, yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
A similar thing happened in Boone many years ago. There's a gigantic wall in downtown Boone. It was catty corner from where the radio station was, and a student and a teacher got permission to do an art project on the wall. And what really was funny is when the city got involved, the art became junk because the city said, well, we want it to be about RAGBRAI and the beauty of Boone. And what they wanted to do was an art project, and they wanted to be expressive. And anytime non-artists tell artists what to do, what you get is junk.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is because non-creative people don't know how to, they think only literally. They think if we're going to have something beautiful, it needs to say Des Moines, Iowa. It can't just be like one of the coolest things about downtown Des Moines is the sculpture garden. I think it's one of the coolest things when we first moved to Iowa. That was so cool to just have that down there. Some of the art is unique. Some of it's different. I love the melting face one. It's cool. It's a lot of cool stuff down there. And eventually the city painted over the thing that they had to go up. So it's unfortunate this happened to the students because they put their heart and soul into it over a year, and just after bureaucracy just comes and wipes it away. Well,
and I don't want to offend anybody in Boone because they are in our listenership. We're no longer their city of license, so we don't have to care for them the way we used to have to. But I always heard Boone as a city or Boone as the powers to be were a little redneck, little backwards, little just...
I don't know about that. It's a neat town. Actually, a really fun town. Puffer Billy Days is really fun. There's a lot of really cool stuff that goes on in Boone. We enjoyed living there when we did, and liked having the station there.
We should start a campaign for Jill King for mayor.
Yeah,
because King's Christian Bookstore has now been sold to the Iowa State Extension.
Run to be mayor.
and she needs to have something to do. She does help me. I don't know if you people know this, but Jill's like, godsend for me. She's my. What's the smart part of the brain? The left, right?
Well,
the right is the creative.
It's subjective, right? One side is analytical, the other is creative, right?
Okay, well, Jill's
is that
like
right,
my
Bob? Yeah.
Jill's like my right side, or no, my left side.
The analytical side. Yeah.
The analytical side. Yeah, she gets that all figured out.
Sharp Cookie worked at a pharmacy for a long time. She's just a observant.
But she just told me on Facebook, in capital letters with an exclamation point, no to mayor.
Aw, Jill, come on. You could do it. Clean up that town.
Did I ever tell you this story? Let me tell you a quick story. So I had a business in Clive for a very long time.
Hey.
All right. And I always threatened Dennis Henderson, he's the city manager, one of the best city managers ever, that if I ever moved to Clive, I was going to run for mayor. Well, we moved to Clive 11 years ago, and the mayor that was elected was going to step down, and so there was no contest. There was no seated. What am I trying to say?
Wasn't contested.
Yeah, it wasn't anybody that was already in the seat. So I thought, I'll run for mayor. And thinking that, I watch Green Acres. I know what mayors do.
Uncontested.
Uncontested, thank you. And so I said, do you have any, mayor training classes? Because I'm ignorant. I don't know what's going on. So do you have any mayor? Dennis Henderson, God bless him, gives me this look and says, why, sure, Mac. We'll put you on the Citizen Finance Committee. You'll know exactly what it's like to be in city government. Cool. I'm on the Clive city government. I'm big deal. So I go in, first break of the first meeting. So we're half hour into this. I said on the phone to my wife, I'm never going to run for mayor. This was the most boring, bureaucratic. We spent 60 minutes talking about streetlights.
Yeah.
Now, I must admit, I know more about streetlights than most people, unless you work for Public Works. But the tediousness of running a city. So, for all I know, I left that night, and they all high-fived each other and said, good job, Mac's gone. We don't have to ever worry about him again.
Now, what was you and Tom Coates going to run for again?
President.
Yeah.
President.
Yeah, we were going to run for president. Hey. All right, we got a break coming up, and when we come back, the FBI is involved at the University of Iowa, and you'll be amazed at why. And then you'll also be amazed at where else the FBI is involved with. No, it's not the Hillary Clinton scandal. No. It's not emails. It's not Benghazi. It's not Obama telling us how many bathrooms and what they're going to be used for. And if we don't do what he tells us to do, he's going to take away poor children's lunch money. I'll get back. Hey, 515-577-3728. No, that's not the number you'd call to get in the studio. That's the number you'd call to talk to Seth Walker. 577-3728. Seth Walker's my real estate guy. Okay, he doesn't pay me to say this. He's my real estate guy. I talked to Seth this morning, looked at 4 houses with him today, looking for rental properties. And so when I tell you that I know how he works, I didn't read it off of a script. In fact, I don't have... I do have a
regardless of what I would request.
A teleprompter?
I do have a teleprompter that's got the number and 8020 Douglas Avenue and stuff. But Seth's just the real deal. He's not a part-time guy. He's a professional guy. He knows what he's doing. He knows the market. He knows the technology. So if you're looking, and he's a Christian guy. But you'll know that the minute you meet him. Family man. So if you're thinking about buying a house, looking for a house, looking for a new house, looking for something for the kids, looking for something for yourself, call Seth Walker. He can help you. 515-577-3728. We're coming back with the FBI.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I am Bernie Hobbs,
and I'm the Service Manager,
Marketing Director, and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed right or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phone the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you can just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up one manager, and I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Step Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right, 3:38, 22 minutes before the top of the hour, 17th day of May in the Lord's year 2016. You know, when Jesus mugged me, the reason I call it mugged is because when you get mugged, you get things taken from you that prior to going through that trauma, you think are very important to you. And after the mugger leaves and all he's taken are things, you realize that those things were just little idols.
Superficial.
That meant something to you. And you realize that your life is worth much more than those little idols. Well, one of my little idols that I had was I always thought, Frank, that I knew everything, Frank, about everything I talked about. And if you knew me back then, you know this. I was a horrible egomaniac. And I had an ego the size of Manhattan, thank you, Carl Dirtz, and self-confidence the size of a pea. So now, and it happened just in the break, now when I'm reminded of how I used to be before Jesus mugged me, I just laugh. Because Chris was talking about how big my ego was prior to Jesus mugging me, and he would remember that.
Did you ever hear that old saying, something that went something like this? If you could sell somebody for what they think they're worth and what they're actually worth, it'd be $1 billion or something. The difference would be $1 billion.
Well, and I just thought, you know, without a relationship with Jesus, I needed a God in my life. And who's the best God to be in my life but
self?
Me. Yeah. And so whether I was successful or not in a project, I was in charge of that project. I didn't sit around and wait for somebody else to step up and do it. I wish I would have known that God would have stepped in at any time and done what needed to be done, and we could have wasted a whole bunch of time. You know, there was something I was fretting on this morning, and I was driving around town, and I was fretting about it, and all of a sudden I just heard the voice, whatever voice that is, why are you worrying? Give it to me. And so my right hand goes up, and I flip the bottom of my right earlobe, and I say, Jesus' name, would you take this? Would you take it? Put it in a box, put it away, burn it, eat it. I don't care what you do with it. Just get it out of my head.
And it all disappeared, didn't it?
Came pretty close.
Okay.
I still hung on to a little bit of it. All right. So the FBI, what's the name of that organization?
Federal Bureau of Investigation.
And if you hear FBI, what do you think?
I think of really cool spy shows, but that's really not what I should think of because that's really the CIA.
I think of trouble.
Yeah, most people think of trouble. Criminals think of trouble. I think neat law enforcement.
Men in Black.
Men in Black.
When you said FBI, I thought full-blooded Italian. Anyway.
Full-blooded Italian. That's funny.
Is that you, Bob?
So the FBI has begun an investigation, and maybe they're the right ones to do it. I don't know. But apparently, when the Olympics were in Russia a few years ago, apparently all of these medals that were won by the Russians, apparently they were doping. And the Russians had actually set up doping test stations that would not report their own people. I mean, it's pretty easy to do. You're on the ground in Russia. You're, when in Rome. And now dozens of Olympians could not only lose their medals from those games, but they'd be barred from Rio de Janeiro, which in those games are this fall.
Right.
Or this summer. So who steps in? The FBI. And I can't make that connection in my head. Why? I don't get that.
I don't know. Yeah, the Russian athletes in Russia.
Yeah.
Breaking the law.
International law. So the FBI goes in to investigate.
Are they the only institution doing that? I mean, are they being prosecuted by Russian authorities as well?
First of all, no, of course not.
Well,
it should be the Olympic Committee.
I was going to say that seems like an Olympic problem first, but go ahead, Frank.
They would have some interest in that our athletes potentially got shafted out of a medal they should have received.
Yeah, but should it still be the FBI? I just somehow think the FBI is, dragnet kind of stuff, big, important stuff.
Right. Bob's got something.
Army Brad says...
my 7-star general and head of Department of Defense in Mac's world.
The FBI does do counter-espionage for the U.S.
But why is that even counter-espionage? I don't know. Well, here's where else the FBI is involved with. The FBI, I'm reading now, Dateline, Iowa City, Iowa. The FBI has found that a University of Iowa student who was recently assaulted, I'm going to change that, and I'm going to say was beaten, was not the victim of a hate crime. I'm going to take the other side of this, so get ready, guys. You're going to think I'm flip-flopping worse than Mitt Romney.
Don't be a wacky leftist.
No, I'm not a leftist or a rightist. I'm a right.
Let's hear the details.
I'm a truth.
Let's hear the details of the story, because I don't get it yet.
Marcus Owens, this is a young man, originally said he was attacked by 3 white men who were yelling racial slurs as he was standing outside an Iowa City bar. However, after reviewing surveillance video, police say that's not what happened. Owens had actually been involved in a fight inside the bar, and then after being removed from the area by bar staff, he was involved in at least 2 more fights outside. Owens and his family said racial slurs may have fueled the violence, but they now know the events he described to the media were inconsistent with police finding. They released a statement late Monday night apologizing for the misunderstanding and anxiety stemming from Marcus's involvement in a violent incident. They went on to say Marcus now knows that his accounts of events were inconsistent with police findings, in part due to alcohol being involved, his embarrassment at his behavior, as well as the injuries he sustained.
Based on the information I just heard, I don't think it's a hate crime either. I think that's an incident of people inside a bar getting torqued off at each other and fighting, and that fight continuing outside and so on and so forth. And just because it was black folks fighting against white folks or vice versa or whatever it is, if there were mixed races fighting, doesn't make it a hate crime. There was anger, and just because you had a racial slur in the middle of a fight doesn't make it a hate crime.
Without being accused of being the resident bigot and racist here.
But you are.
It's like the boy that cried wolf. You can't take the black community serious when they complain racism about every incident. So if they would use that plea less, then you'd take the times when racism is really involved more seriously.
Did you say Chicken Little?
No.
Well, it's the same thing. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. That racism. Finally, no, it's not.
Well, yes.
But here's where I have a problem with this, and it's probably just in the writing of the story. But Owen said his family said racial slurs had been fueled the violence. But the media now knows that's inconsistent with police finding. How do they know they weren't racist slurs?
No, I don't.
I'm very much against racial slurs.
Sure, yeah. But I think the argument is not so much whether or not racial slurs were spoken. I think it was... So the idea, but the way I understand a hate crime is the idea is I don't like... long-haired hippie people. And that's Frank. So
they're not a protected class, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm using a pretend.
You have to be a protected
they
class.
They soon should be.
So let's say long-haired hippie people are a protected class, and I don't like them, and so I decide to say I stand up and say I don't like hippie people because Frank is a long-haired hippie person. I beat him up.
And if you don't get your hair cut, you're soon going to be on my team.
Yeah. Pot calling the kettle black, eh? But so that I think is a hate crime if the reason for the attack is race related. However, if Frank and I are going back and forth on the eternality of hell, let's say, and we're arguing and we're just arguing about something back and forth, and it gets heated, and we actually start pushing and shoving each other, we start swinging and hitting each other, and while I'm beating, because I would in a fist fight. Just kidding, Frank. If we were in a fist fight and I screamed out, I don't like you crazy long-haired hippie person.
White person.
At that moment, it doesn't become a hate crime because we're fighting about something else. And just because he's a long-haired hippie person and I'm not, and I don't, it's not the reason I'm fighting with him.
That's in the passion of the moment.
In the passion of the moment, I might yell a racial slur. So it's very possible that in this situation, you had people who were just fighting in a bar. They continued to fight. They continued to fight outside. It was clear that both parties, I don't know all the facts. I'm just saying, if it looks like from the video that both parties were involved in the fighting, just because racial slurs were yelled during the fight doesn't make it a hate crime.
You're arguing it needs to be premeditated.
I would think that for something to be classified as hate crime, I think you have to prove that it was premeditated and that was the reason for the attack, yeah.
All right, we're going to take our next break. I want to remind you of Morsel Combat coming up this Thursday, 6:30 to 9 at the Embassy Suites. Your $40 ticket will build 200 meals for homeless and hungry children around the world. We'll see you at the Embassy Suites Thursday night, 6:30 for Morsel Combat.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
And it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of help, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
10 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News, and then Pastor Ryan Jorgensen from Harvest Bible Chapel and Pastor Spencer Karoff from First Church of the Open Bible. Did I say that right? Or is it just Church of the Open Bible? Okay. They're going to be in next hour, and we're going to talk about some different things. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to allow you to call up and ask Hank. But it wouldn't be Hank you're asking. It'd be Ryan or Spencer. Or you could ask me or Frank or Bob or Chris, but you're better off to ask them if it's a theological question. Unless you want the wrong answer, and then you could ask Frank. So they're going to be in, and we're going to talk about some different things. We're going to and we also have some other topics we may get into. But we usually only have one pastor at a time. But these guys are mostly like thinkers.
Well, do you remember when you had Michael Mudloff and Michael Damastis paired up together in the studio?
No, I don't.
Yes.
That was a long time ago.
Yes, that was downtown.
Yeah, and what happened?
I actually called into that show and kind of stirred up a fight between the two of them.
And he laughs about it.
They was arguing with each other.
I was studying, and I just happened to have it open. I was studying.
Blessed are the peacekeepers. 2
Timothy today. And you're not supposed to stir people up, and you're not supposed to make them mad, and you're not supposed to, get involved in foolish, ignorant, arrogant arguments that start fights. A servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but must be kind to everyone.
I came not to send peace. I came to send a sword. Matthew 10:24.
The verse is back. All right, so we talked a little bit earlier about this, and I just want to report on it.
Hey, Mac, have you ever noticed how the devil likes to shut down the reading of Scripture?
Oh, he just did, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I was reading Scripture, and Frank stepped in and shut it down.
Don't like it when that Bible's read, huh?
I don't know if you know this, but 3 people were arrested over the weekend after a string of crashes on Interstate 35 around Ankeny. Mile marker 89, 12:20 in the morning. Have I ever told you that nothing good happened?
I leave it while I'm asleep.
3 young ladies in 3 different cars, all 3 drunk. And here's what's amazing. Nobody was injured worse than just take them to the hospital and see if they're okay.
Wow, that's awesome.
Was this a 7 car? Now, hold on, let me find. I think it was a 7 car crash because they ran into each other in the back and then pushed them off on the other side of the road. And of course, it's dark at that late at night. But 3 young ladies were arrested for OWI in those crashes. And I wish we could find some way to... Well, I know how to do it. You want to get rid of drunk driving? Frank, you really want to get rid of it?
Yes.
Just put interlocks in all cars.
Is that the breathalyzer thing?
Yeah. Yeah, the driver has to put a test blow. I'm just going to call it that. And there's a DNA in that test blow. And so that's the only blow that works in that car. And I know that's terribly inconvenient, especially if you share cars. But they got to do it, and they can't get down the road if that thing says, nope, there's alcohol in your system.
I do know about ignition interlocks.
Yeah, why don't we have them standard in every car?
Well, they're talking in the government level about putting them, having the car manufacturers put them in their car. I mean, it's part of the plan, which people are going to complain because those that don't drink or do that, they still have to pass a breath test. But you do blow into, and some of the units have a certain breath pattern you have to blow in,
right?
Or they have different ways, and they also have rolling retest, meaning that if somebody else starts it, within every 10 minutes, it requires another breath while you're driving. To make sure. Now, if you don't pass the initial one, you can't start your car.
Right. And if you don't pass one down the road,
then your lights flash, your horn beeps, and then you have to bring it in. Within 5 days to one of the service centers.
And they have to reset it. So you can't just do it at home and say, oh, officer, that was a mistake. I mean, I had, after my 2001 OWI, I lost my driver's license for a year. And I got to tell you, that's a freedom we take for granted.
Yes, it is.
For 1 year. And see, I don't want to sound holier than now, but there was no way I was going to risk getting caught driving with a suspended license, because then it's a 6-year loss.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Why don't we just get really good at punishing drunk drivers?
Well, we really are good at it.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. First time, it's a 6-month suspension. You're on SR22. First of all, OWI is expensive. First one is probably a $7,000 bill. By the time you pay the lawyer, you pay the suspension, you pay for the SR22. You got to remember, SR22 insurance is just stupid expensive, and it should be. You did something stupid behind a car, and now you deserve it. My second one, which was 7 years later, I was like a month away from being outside of it being a second one, but I did what I did. That, I lost my driver's license for 1 year. When I got it back, stupid high insurance, and I had to have an interlock in my car for a year. What I did, because I was never going to drink and drive again. I wasn't smart enough at that point to say I was never going to drink again. I didn't quit drinking again for another 10 years. Imagine what that could have saved me. But I never drove drunk I never I never drank and drove ever again. And it wasn't one of those, I think I could have 3. Or, I had too much, my wife's going to... No, it was, I did not have a alcoholic beverage out. Because all I needed was for that interlock to misfire, to misfunction, and say that I had too much alcohol on my breath, and now I'm in dead trouble, because now it's right there. So I think we ought to put these on all cars, and maybe you start out with everybody under 25. Remember, driving is not a right, it's a privilege. So if you're under 25, because so many OWIs come from kids under 25, that 21 to 25 is just terrible. And if you ever get an OWI again, I think a year is too short. I think it ought to be a 5-year deal where you've got an interlock. 7-year deal, whatever it is. That's the only way we're going to stop drunk driving, because we're not going to start it. We're not going to stop it at the retail level. That's not going to. We're not going to have another. What do you want to have? Prohibition. We're not going to have another prohibition. We're not going through that. We've got to go to the people who are most likely to commit these horrible crimes and stop them.
The name escapes me, but the car dealer we had on last week,
Steve Lupke.
Steve, he obviously paid a pretty hefty price, 18 months in prison.
Yeah, well, that was his 4th one too, and he got booked. He was sentenced to 7 years.
Right.
So if in the next 5.5 years, whatever that was, if he gets an OWI, that whole sentence comes back, and he's got 5.5 years more plus whatever he'd get. So we really do punish drunk drivers. Once they're caught, we've got to find a better way to stop them from going down the road, because nothing good happens when you're driving down the road and you're drunk. I mean, the one young lady blew a 0.19, so that is 2 times the legal limit. 2 times the legal limit. All right, when we come back, a couple of cool pastors in here. We're going to talk a little bit about hell, and we're going to talk a little bit about some other things, and then we'll also have the phone lines open so you can call in at any time and ask the pastor anything you want. Anything you want. As long as you're nice. Remember, like they told Ella in Cinderella. What did her mom tell her before she dies? Always have courage and always be kind. That's our motto on the radio. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. You have no idea how much of a ministry this is and how much I enjoy it, and I thank you for taking the time to listen to 99.3 The Truth.